What's up, video creators? Welcome back to the Video Creator Podcast, where we help you grow your YouTube channel. This podcast is brought to you by VidChops.com. That will help you take the burden of editing totally off your hands. So if you want help with your editing, check out VidChops.com. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about how a certain YouTuber, how he gained 254 million views in just 30 days. He did it by running a challenge. Okay, he had to start a challenge on his channel, and not only that, but he was able to gain over 2.5 million subscribers just in 30 days. And like I said, we're gonna be diving deep into his YouTube channel today and what he did, as well as just kind of talk about what you can do and how you can use challenges in your own YouTube channel to see some major growth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. All right, guys, Augie Johnston here. I'm here with Grant Ball, my co-host, and we're excited today to talk about challenges. And challenges are just not like a new thing on YouTube. Actually, they've been around for a very long time, but kind of how they started were kind of like in a weird, kind of lame way, in my opinion, like the cinnamon challenge or like the marshmallow challenge, like all these different challenges where like we're trying to, hold cinnamon in your mouth for, 30 seconds or anything. Grant, do you remember those days on YouTube?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think in high school I tried the cinnamon challenge. Fortunately, everything was fine. I didn't inhale any, but I fell victim to a dumb challenge or two, and those were the dark days of YouTube, and definitely the early days.
Yeah, I remember just me as like a viewer getting hooked onto like this one guy's name was Wolfie Raps, and he had like a crew with him, and that was all their content was different challenges where they would like make a giant gummy bear, or their challenge was, like I said, a cinnamon type challenge, and they would just like record all these different videos in their kitchen, and yeah, they used them and grew pretty big. Nowadays, the challenges are much more extreme and they're different. Right, so the challenge that we're talking about today is from a YouTuber named Ryan Trahan, and he's the guy that did gain 254 million views in June of 2022. And he, like I said, he used a challenge. His challenge was to use one penny, start with one penny, and use just the penny to travel all the way from California to North Carolina to give Mr. Beast that penny. And so the way he did it is by trading up, right? So I think the first thing he did is he took a penny and he traded it for, I don't know, what was it? I think
a pen.
He took a penny and he traded it, for a pen, right? And then he sold the pen for $1, and then he bought a water bottle for $1, and then he upsold that for $2. And by the end of day one, he had about $42.70. Which was a great start because this is a 30-day challenge that he did. So Grant, why do you think challenges work so well on YouTube? Why do you think they help people grow their channel?
Well, because people like watching other people do difficult things. I mean, it's in the word, right? It's a challenge. It's challenging. And when you can kind of sit there, watch a video, and live vicariously through somebody else who is doing something difficult, I think there's something satisfying about that. There's something inspiring about that. And maybe even a little relaxing or something. There's something about sitting on your couch and they're doing the hard work, you're watching. And it also does, I think, open avenues in your own mind about what is possible. So, the idea of in one day taking a penny and turning it into $42.70, even that in and of itself is impressive. And it kind of shows you that if you're dedicated to something, you can do it. So I think these challenge videos, at least the actually impressive ones like this, they just help people to feel inspired, essentially. It really comes down to that.
Yeah. And I think too, as far as like the growth part of it is what we always talk about, right? That watch time. Like when it comes to a challenge, the video starts and, hey, today I'm going to see if I can use one penny to travel from California to North Carolina. Boom. Now you got them hooked, right? So now when we want to have watch time on our videos and have people watch all the way through, they want to see if you achieve it, right? They want to see if you reach your goal. So just that in general was going to keep people watching. So I think any kind of challenge, if you can turn any of your videos into a challenge, then it's going to help you with your watch time, because people want to see if you achieve it or if you fail. So I think there's a little bit of that too. Like if you were to look at like the psychology behind it and kind of what the algorithm wants. Are there any other kind of challenges or anything that you've seen on YouTube? Any other creator use those, or anything that pops into your mind?
I know there's one channel, the name escapes me, but they'll essentially do a challenge for a month. So one thing they did was we stopped drinking coffee for a month. I believe it's a husband and wife. And, those challenges are maybe a little more mundane, but I think they sort of speak to people in a different way than, say, the penny challenge. They are something maybe you've thought about, like, oh, what if I stopped drinking coffee for a month? Would it be worth it? What would happen? Would I feel better? Would I feel worse? So I think you can kind of explore what happens when you actually make changes in your life like that. And I don't know if that answers the question, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah, I think like this is kind of like a little bit of like an abstract challenge, right? Like it's kind of like a creative, like there's some creativity that went into this challenge. But look at your own life and think about like weight loss challenge, right? Like, so how many fitness channels out there have done weight loss challenges and those kind of things? I think that those in themselves are great opportunities to create engaging videos, right? Because I know if I had a fitness channel and I said, hey, my goal is, in the next, I don't know, about 30 days, but let's go 60 days, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, right? If people might want to follow along, not only watching, but trying it themselves and using your videos as inspiration. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that are going to happen as you go through that journey and go through that challenge. And that's entertaining. That's not just you sitting in front of the camera saying, oh, this food right here has half the calories and you should do this workout and, this many reps. It's just different, right? It's not like talking head. It's more like engaging type content. And, if I take a look at this guy's channel here, Ryan Trahan, he's doing so many things right. His thumbnails are incredible. And, I can definitely see that he is inspired by Mr. Beast. This challenge that he did, this 30-day challenge, not only is it a great, kind of thing that's engaging and keep people watching, but he also included Mr. Beast in there, actually. I mean, his goal was to go from California to North Carolina because North Carolina is where Mr. Beast is, and he was going to deliver that penny to Mr. Beast once he got there. And I think that just added like a whole nother, a whole nother reason for people to watch is, everyone loves Mr. Beast. And, like I said, by looking at his channel, I can see that he is definitely inspired by Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast himself, like he's somebody that uses challenges all the time. And this is almost kind of like a Mr. Beast challenge in a way where, last one to leave the circle gets $10,000. Like that's a typical Mr. Beast video. And so it's, very similar to this. And I think anything that involves, challenges, you could almost say it's like a competition, right? So a competition, people like to watch competitions, people love sports. They love all that kind of stuff. And so, anything that's a competition, people are gonna love. So, this guy too, like if you watch his videos, you'll see that his intros start out a lot like Mr. Beast. The Mr. Beast intro to me is like, I have $10 million that I'm going to give away by the end of this video to the last person that, stays inside this freezer. Who's going to do it? We got 5 contestants here. And that's kind of how this guy's videos start as well. So, those kind of hooks are pretty good. And, if you are a talking head, you create talking head videos, that's fine. How can you script an intro that's like that, that, kind of starts off with, in today's video, I'm going to teach you all these different things. And by the end of it, I'm going to give you the number one secret that worked for me and earned me $10 million. And then not just sitting there talking, but, using B-roll during that whole part, which, if you don't know what B-roll is, it's just footage that's overlaid on top of your video. but using B-roll to kind of make that way more engaging. And I think that's kind of like a little bit of a secret there in making a great hook. Have you ever kind of used something like that, Grant, where you have like just a intro where you're speaking and then use B-roll on top of it? And if you have, can you give us a little example?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, a somewhat recent video I did, I made it back in November. It was on a game called Little Nightmares 2. And it started off with me talking about Little Nightmares in the first like 5 seconds, like Little Nightmares had a baby and it's a sequel and oh my God. And then I'll kind of like cut to footage of the trailer and then I'll cut back to my face and, I'd film it in front of a green screen and kind of put myself over the game. And especially with the intro, it's especially important to really do as many cuts as possible. I mean, you want to be aesthetic about it and not obnoxious about it. And I think anybody who wants to really learn how to do an intro right should absolutely watch, Ryan Trahan or Mr. Beast. And I think the key really to a good intro is to explain what the heck this video is about in as short a time as possible and with a lot of good high energy as well. And yeah, obviously like cutting to B-roll and kind of really showing everything you're talking about, not leaving it to the imagination, I think is very visually stimulating. And I think it can also, you can cut up your audio in a way where you're not wasting any time and you are getting rid of all the uhs and ums and knows and just start and show everything you're talking about without hesitation. And then, maybe like 20 seconds, 30 seconds into the video, you can kind of ease up on the editing a little bit. And kind of as the video progresses, you don't need to put as much time into every 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people make that mistake where they really don't get into the goods until like way later in the video. It's like all this fluff in the beginning, like, talking about your credentials, like, oh, I did this and I did that. And, here's what you're going to find on this channel and blah, blah, blah. And in my opinion, that's kind of how I used to do it. And in my opinion, I don't like that anymore. I prefer to do the Mr. Beast style and just kind of get right into it. Another thing about Ryan and some of the success that he's had in this, especially these last 30 days, I mean, he already was successful. His channel currently has 10.2 million subscribers. I mean, wow, it's crazy. And I was looking through some of his old videos and his early videos from 6 years ago and stuff are just like not even really YouTube content. It's like it was just a dumping ground for him to upload just videos of him running on track and like little sports highlights and just random stuff. And the cool thing is like he never took it down. Like that I love that. I respect that because so many people are like, oh, my first videos are so cringe and they take them down and stuff. I mean, I've done that personally. And this guy just seems like he's just like, I don't know. He's like a next level warrior, a YouTube warrior where he's just like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, I don't even care. And I'm going to travel across the United States and I'm going to upload a video every single day for 30 days. And that was kind of my next point was, he saw this growth. He didn't upload 4 videos, 1 a week. He uploaded every single day for those 30 days. And I can look back on the very first one and I'll just kind of go through them. So the very first one, it's called I Survived on 1 penny for 30 days, 16 million views. The next one, 7.8 million, 8 million, 8 million, 7.5, 8 million. And all the way up until when he actually delivered the penny to Mr. Beast, that was 12 million. So yeah, these are a lot of views, but they're not super, super crazy. They're just, for somebody that has 10 million subscribers, they're not like too crazy, but they are good, but they're just consistent, right? It's like every single time you're bam, 8 million, bam, 8 million. If you upload 30 videos, that's, a lot of views right there. So another lesson to be learned would be just, if you're going to do like a really big time challenge video or challenge in general, like break it up into parts. So I think that's cool there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All
right. Let's talk more about challenges now. Let's get away from Ryan. Yes, his thumbnails are great. In his thumbnails, he's showing, look, I made $20 mowing a lawn. It wasn't just trading. He was also like offering services and stuff like that. But what are some other types of challenges that you would recommend maybe to like a business or something like that? Like maybe let's get away from this like typical Mr. Beast YouTube type style. Is there anything that comes to mind, Grant, that if you were to like, I don't know, recommend to like a business, whether it's like a fitness studio or just any kind of business, online business that uploads and has a YouTube channel? Can you think of any challenges? I know it's kind of hard, but I'm going to try to think of some myself.
I mean, so if you're like a gym, you know, you're a local gym, you're trying to build a following, perhaps a cult following, you could do a sort of fitness challenge where you find people who are not in good shape and you're like, hey guys, what if we do a program with you for 90 days and we get you in the best shape of your life? Are you down? And a lot of people will say yes. I think a lot of people, you know, with fitness specifically, but with a lot of things, they want to be better, they want to change, but they're kind of looking for the right motivation, the right inspiration, the right program. So whatever it is that your business is offering, I think you should find somebody who is not utilizing your business and show them what you're all about and what you can do to change their life or to help their life in some way. So yeah, in this case, it's just following a 90-day workout program that you design for people who are not in good shape. You know, they're not going to get injured. It's sustainable. You want to show the world how anybody can do it. And I think something like that would be fantastic for your business, because you are, you know, challenges, I kind of mentioned this, they can be corny. But I think one thing that Ryan Trahan has really highlighted here, you know, if you go on his channel, a lot of his videos are fundraisers. He's raising money. He's doing a lot of good. And if you can actually find a way to do a challenge that is actually good for the world, I think people are going to respond to that. Because if you're just doing these dumb challenges, making the world's largest gummy bear, which is fun, don't get me wrong. But when you're always doing that, I think, especially if you're trying to sell something, you're trying to sell the idea of, you know, in this case, your gym. Yeah, like we trained a guy to bench press 400 pounds. And I mean, that's cool, but like, is that practical? That guy is probably already really strong anyway. Like, who cares? I think you want it to be two things: accessible, and Ryan Trahan is very accessible. A lot of his videos are like, you know, I survived on 1 cent a day. You know, literally anybody, no matter how much money you have, this applies to you. And you want to make them meaningful. So, you know, doing fundraisers, changing people's lives, something like that. I think these are good parameters to look into when trying to generate interest in what you're doing with a challenge.
Yeah, I agree. I like that, how you said it, you know, make the world a better place with your challenge, with your content. I like that. Kind of the thing that comes to mind for me is, you know, I deal with a lot of people that are, you know, like coaches or consultants or have some sort of online business where they help people make money online or help people just generate more revenue for their business. And a lot of those people have courses, right? They sell these courses. So why not, you know, create content and help somebody go through your course, maybe offer a little helping hand as well, and document the whole process and create a challenge out of it. You know, like, hey, the challenge is to make 7 figures in the next 30 days. Or maybe that's a little ambitious there. Or to make, you know, $10,000 in the next 30 days. There you go. And that could be your challenge, right? Like, hey, today we're going to make, you know, 10,000, or this month we're going to make $10,000. And then every single day you come out with a new video like, all right, hey, we got, you know, 20 new leads into our business yesterday in day 1. Today's day 2. We're going to follow up with those leads, and you're going to, you know, follow along as I get on a sales call and I call one of these people and try to pitch them my service. And that right there, you know, could be entertaining for somebody who's learning how to start their own business, educational for someone who's learning how to start their own business, and hopefully, you know, acquire watch time with it and keep them hooked so that that video does get promoted by the YouTube algorithm. Because we know that if you do release a video where people watch all the way through or watch enough of it, normally the guideline on this show that we've been talking about is, you know, maybe 40 to 50% watching all the way through. The other day, I heard someone say that you want 70% of the viewers that click on your video to watch 1 minute. And if you do that, if you create a video where 70% of the people who watch your video on average watch 1 minute, at least 1 minute, then the YouTube algorithm will promote you out. So if you are able to create content like that, then your video has a great chance of getting promoted and getting more views. What are some other ways that you think, Grant, that people can use challenges?
I mean, that's a general question. I may need some time that we will have to edit out. Other times where people could use challenges.
What about video games? I mean, this is your world, right? Do anybody in the video game world ever come up with different types of challenges or anything like that?
Yeah, so that is a wonderful example. Thank you for giving me that idea, Augie. One guy who stands out, oh God, what is his name? Well, he does ridiculous video game challenges, like I beat Skyrim without walking. I'm not even joking. He beat Skyrim without walking. He disabled the thumbstick on his controller so that he literally can't walk. And he would do things like, pick up a bucket and then like throw it under his feet. And there was some glitch that would like throw you forward. So he would use a bucket and just like glitch himself around the map. And then kind of pick up moves that allowed him to kind of jump forward or teleport or whatever. And just the video is ridiculous. And he doesn't even talk. It's really just music. He uses music to set the tone and kind of change the pace and keep things interesting. And I mean, this is just one example of things that he did. You know, he'll do like I beat Dark Souls without dying. I mean, that's a big one, is like beating Dark Souls without dying or even getting hit at all. So if you're just really good at something, if it's a video game or whatever it is, even just knowledgeable about an anime, I don't know. I watched all of Hunter x Hunter in one sitting without sleeping. I mean, don't do that, but that would still be impressive. It'd be kind of in the realm of Mr. Beast, like I said, Logan Paul 100,000 times. Whatever it is that you really like, that you're good at, you can make a challenge out of it. And I think you'll still end up pushing your limits. I mean, beating Skyrim without walking. I mean, that probably took him just tens of hours. I'm guessing that video took him close to 100 hours total between recording and editing and research and all that. But it was worth it. I mean, he gets millions of views a video. And I think this is, it speaks to how ubiquitous challenges can be.
Yeah. Okay. Those are all great examples. And as you were speaking, I'm like, okay, well, what's the framework? Like, what's the secret here? How can somebody listen to this episode right now and go out and create their own kind of challenge type video, or at least come up with a really good video topic? Because essentially that's what we're talking about, right? These are video topics. And kind of the framework that comes to mind to me is how to do a pretty normal thing without blank, right? How to do a normal thing, but without jumping, or how to do a normal thing, but adding something that makes it extremely challenging. And that right there is a formula for like a great YouTube topic right there, for a video topic. Like for example, in the basketball world, I could say, I got MVP of my league using only my left hand, or I scored 40 points in the game using only my left hand. Like I did something kind of normal or kind of great maybe, and I did it and I made it even more challenging for me. And that's a great framework right there. I mean, let me think if I can apply that to something else. I always talk about skateboarding niche. Grant, give me a niche. Give me any niche. Let's see if I can pull this off and come up with a decent topic here.
Knitting. How about knitting?
Great. I love it. Okay. So how I made the world's biggest, or how I made a king size quilt using only my left hand, or how I made a king size quilt using 1 penny, right? Or how I made a dog quilt using nothing but I don't know, dog hair.
All right, how about
Okay,
fashion?
these are not great ones, you guys, but they are ones.
How about fashion?
Fashion. Okay, there we go. There's another one. Um, the world's biggest jacket that was made by a 5-year-old.
Oh.
Something like that, like these are pretty outlandish ones and not great ones, but I think you're starting to get the idea. If you spent some time using this framework, I think you could come up with some great video topics.
Mm-hmm. You could even like go into a random word generator and just like, type in something involving fashion and just sort of see what it spits out. Like I made 10 outfits using a random word generator. I mean, something just ridiculous like that. So, it spits out duck, flying saucer, and I don't know, a redwood tree. And somehow you make an outfit out of those things. You can get as weird as you want with it. And especially if you were like building a channel around challenges, I think no shit post is too great. Just keep on doing your silly thing, and people are going to enjoy it, especially if you have a sense of humor about it. I think some people maybe take their YouTube presence too seriously. They're like, oh, I can't post this. It's not good enough. It's not interesting enough. Maybe don't worry about that. Kind of have some levity and understand that, I mean, what you're doing is preposterous, and that's okay. That's part of the appeal. So if you can be comfortable in that preposterousness, then I think, anything that Augie just said, you could make videos out of it. Anything I just said, you could make a video out of it, and it would be entertaining, even though it might be silly.
Yeah, and the big key here, right, is it's coming up with a good topic, because we always talk about it. One of the main things YouTube wants is click-through rate. We already talked about watch time in this episode. They want people to watch your video all the way through, but also click-through rate. You got to create a video that people actually click on, and we talk about the thumbnail needs to be very good. The title needs to be very good. But probably the most important part is the topic. And so spending some time coming up with good topics is a major key on YouTube. And something that I've really seen kind of shift over the past 5 years or so, I'm really starting to see a lot better topics coming up in the business world, especially because, on like the how to make money online niche and stuff, the topics used to just be like so boring all the time, like so like just always is like just boring. And nowadays they're using like interesting topics to educate you, like kind of like the examples I gave before. How I'll make $10,000 in 1 month. There's a few different guys that are like drop shippers and stuff that I watch, and they're really starting to figure it out. One's named Biaheza, Biaheza is his name, and he's got a YouTube channel where it's kind of like how to make money. It's a drop shipping, online businesses, and that kind of stuff. But he totally follows this challenge thing. He's a younger guy. He's probably in his mid-20s at the most, and he's got it figured out where he's just making interesting topics. So that's a major key. And the thing about these challenges too is you don't actually have to achieve these challenges. I was watching a Mr. Beast video the other day, and I had to click on it because it was like, I can't remember the title, but it was something about not eating for 30 days. Like I'm going to fast for 30 days and not eat. And I was like, doesn't really seem possible. I was like, okay, I'm going to click for sure. And he didn't achieve it. I think it was day 14. I'm not sure what day it was. I think 14. He ended up eating a little bit. He was actually doing a show with Gordon Ramsay, who's like a famous chef. And they had done this big show, and they had cooked up all their food. And he was like, are you going to taste it? And he's like, I can't taste it. I'm doing this challenge right now. And then he's like, you better taste it, man. And so he's he kind of like got forced into it, and he ate the food there, and lost the challenge or whatever. And I guess he had to shave his head when he lost that challenge. But besides click-through rate, watch time, what are some other things, Grant? I know we've talked about them before, but just in case we have some new listeners here, that you need to succeed on YouTube.
I mean, the biggest thing is a thumbnail. Like, if your thumbnail sucks, then you're kind of screwed. So if you can figure out an image that encapsulates the challenge that is eye-catching, then you'll be golden. And I think sometimes this can be hard with a challenge. So like one video I'm looking at right now is called Overnight in the World's Tallest Bed. And I could even do a screen share here. So you can see right here, this is I'm showing the thumbnail here. And in order to get around the fact that you can't really show a face here, I guess you could, but it might be obnoxious. It's all about the bed, right? So how do you show a bed in a way that is actually interesting? So in this case, you are showing the world's tallest bed. It looks like a drone shot they took. There's big text and a red arrow pointing to somebody climbing some absurdly tall bed. And it really gets the point across. And again, like, big text is huge. A human face always helps. So, overnight survival challenge, Best Buy items only. You got like just some guy looking really disheveled on the left, and then another guy looking great on the right. And, it's just about how can you get an image that captures this challenge in a way that's interesting? And also, that may be kind of obvious, but what is less obvious is how much time it is worth to spend on a thumbnail. A lot of times I'll have spent a bunch of time on a video, and then the thumbnail is like the last thing I do. And maybe I'm trying to hit a deadline, so I only have like a couple hours to do it. And sometimes that's enough to make a great thumbnail. Sometimes it's not. I was watching this interview with Matt Pat of Game Theory, and he was saying they actually spend like a week on thumbnails, and his team will generate like 3 to 5 different ones, and then they'll kind of like send them to each other, tweak them a bunch, even do some like audience testing beforehand, and really just nail down the best thumbnail that they can. And this may seem like a big waste of time, but it's not, because if your thumbnail sucks, you're screwed. And that's just a fact of YouTube. So this obviously applies to any type of video, not just a challenge. But you can't spend enough time on a thumbnail, for sure.
Yeah, and Ryan Trahan's thumbnails are really good. I like them. He uses like a filter on there that kind of increases the sharpness and kind of has that typical YouTube look, creates a lot of curiosity on his thumbnails and that kind of stuff. And another strategy that he's using here is another strategy that you can also use, and that's doubling down on what works. So, this isn't the first time that he's taken a penny and flipped it into other things. He's done that in the past. And, there's a video where he flipped and traded up a penny until he earned $1,000. So he turned a penny into $1,000. And that video alone got over 16 million views. So he probably saw that and was like, oh, this kind of framework for video like works well. I'm going to double down and I'm going to do this 30-day challenge. I'm going to go all in. And that essentially is kind of what has turned him into like a YouTube god now at 10 million subscribers. And, he's got over 1 billion views now as well. So, that's a good tip for you. Look at your content that you have on your channel, what video topics or what kind of trend on your channel is really doing well and has done well in the past, and double down on that and see if you can kind of, make a spin off of that of some sort, kind of like he did. And it worked really well for him. So that's a great idea as well. There's a lot you can learn. This guy, like I said, his older videos, I'm going to take a look at his Social Blade real quick. If I go back to even August 2019, he had a successful channel, or I guess it's September of 2019. 5 million views that month, or almost 6 million views that month. The next month, 6 million views, 11 million. He obviously made up his mind at some point, like, hey, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this happen. And then he just like put his head down. I mean, creating 30 videos in 30 days, where not only are you having to create the video, but you're also having to get out there and hustle, and like he was mowing lawns and trading pennies for things. Like, he's not just like sitting in a studio and hitting record every day and, just kind of spitting off the top of his head. He's kind of planning it out every day. And that's not an easy thing to do. So if you do want to make it and you do want this kind of success, and this is like mega success, right? Then just know that it's not going to come easily. The 254 million views in a month, that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't want to do the math, but that's a lot of views each day. 254 divided by 30, that's a lot. And the thing about it is, it's a big number. And every day, right, is, or every new video is, like I said earlier, 8 million. We're like, oh, well, 8 times 30 that might not get you, to 230 something million views. But what happens is people watch, they're watching a video and then they're watching more of his videos. His older content is getting recommended now. And so we don't have the stats for July yet because July is not over. But I'm sure that in the month of July, he's going to actually do more than 234 million views. And it's just going to keep on going up as long as he keeps releasing quality content. What would you recommend he does in the next month now that he's had this ultra successful month? I mean, it's hard to follow up, right? So is there any ideas that you could have for him?
Well, I think one thing I would do is not rush it too hard. Like, he already went really hard and got himself a lot of attention in the eyes of a lot of people. I think maybe when you do that, there's a lot of pressure to keep it going immediately. I would recommend, unless he's just chocked full of great ideas, to not stop or anything, but, if he released one video a week for a while, that would be fine. I would just kind of let the juices recharge. That is my plan. I know that's kind of old man advice, but as far as like a strategy he could do, if he was chocked full of energy and just knew exactly what he wanted to do. He could involve other YouTubers as well. So, one's beyond Mr. Beast, and he's probably already done this to a certain extent, but just kind of doing more challenges, but roping in other people now that he has this huge amount of fame. Maybe even smaller YouTubers, not even like small ones necessarily, but he has 10 million. He could do a video with YouTubers who have 500,000, a million subscribers, and still kind of benefit from their audience as well. They would benefit too. He would make new friends. Basically just keep doing what he's doing, but doing it with different people. I think that's always kind of a surefire thing too, because when you work with new people, you end up getting new energy, you get new ideas. But if you're working with yourself all the time or the same people, then you end up, I think, getting stagnant, at least eventually, maybe not anytime soon, but it's always good to mix it up.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, it's like, not taking into consideration his energy level and all that kind of stuff, because, I'm for sure this is worn on him majorly, but just not taking that into consideration. Like, my advice is you have everyone's attention right now. Everyone wants to see what's going to happen next. You've created this storyline. I would say keep this story going. How do you, maybe not the same challenge or anything, but how do you continue this story of, I 1 penny to travel across to give it to Mr. Beast. I gave him the penny. What's next? What happens next? Does Mr. Beast now, are you going to do you do a collab with Mr. Beast? Does he say, hey, now, I'll come onto your channel and do some sort of challenge on your channel? Or do you, like you kind of said, head over and head to another YouTuber and do another challenge, heading to another one? Because the opportunity that he has right now is huge. It's just major. If he said, okay, I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to go to 1 penny to China or something like that, he could really capitalize on his situation right now and be the next big thing on YouTube. I'm talking Mr. Beast level. And so, that's easy to say that, and it's a lot harder to do, but, I would say, what's the next part to the story? So I think we've dove into this channel enough. I think we've kind of broken it down enough. Grant, is there any other little advice or any other things you noticed that you wanted to bring up about challenges or Ryan Trahan's channel?
Really just so, with this guy, he does a lot of epic challenges. I do want to, for maybe people, you're working a normal job and you're trying to make this work and, you're not trying to go too ham, at least off the start. You can do kind of more, I don't want to say mundane because that makes it sound boring, but just kind of more relatable challenges, at least to start. Again, I stopped drinking coffee for 30 days. Here's what happened. I ran every day for 30 days. Here's what happened. Things like that. And then you can kind of establish yourself in that field of doing kind of interesting things, challenging things, and just kind of ramp it up from there. I especially because, starting relatively small, I think it helps you build momentum. Like it's easier to be motivated to do big things if you already have some momentum. Whereas if you're starting from scratch, you might find it hard to see an epic challenge from start to finish. So yeah, like don't be afraid to start smaller. Just don't, and it'll probably be interesting anyway. You'll learn a thing or two, especially if you have one amazing idea, but you've barely ever made a video before, maybe it's worth making a few videos before that so you actually have some experience in making this idea a good one that is executed as well as possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, nonetheless, if you listen to today's episode, hopefully you got some ideas, right? We talked about the framework of, how to do this, or I did this, without this or with this, by making it more challenging for yourself. And yeah, just apply that to whatever kind of niche you're in and whatever kind of videos you're creating, and just let those ideas flow. And hopefully that's helpful for you. That's it for today's episode. This is brought to you, like I said before, from VidChops.com, where we can help take the burden of editing totally off your hands. So if you want help with your video editing, check out VidChops.com. And that's it for today. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Later.